This is Reverend Don Lewis coming to you from beautiful Florida. And today our question comes to us once again from John Simpson. And John has a follow-up question to yesterday's question about the idea of magical influence. And John's question today is, what would I say to the relationship between those who know how to influence and those who are unaware that they are being influenced? And he specifically references such things as marketing, salesmanship, and management techniques. He also says that I sound as though I think that today's society is benign, when in reality there are all sorts of traps waiting to ensnare people. And what would I say to this? And as to the relationship between those who know how to influence and those who are unaware of being influenced, I would say caveat emptor. Become aware that you are being influenced, because it's not going to stop. It's one of the major aspects of life. We're all trying to influence each other all the time. The only reason we learned how to talk was to influence each other. And we constantly do it in both overt and covert ways, ways that we're conscious of and ways we're not conscious of. Life is all about influencing each other. We do it with our energy, we do it with our words, we do it with our actions. Everything from the way we wear our hair, to the clothes we choose to wear, to the way we string our words together, is about influencing other people, influencing them to like us, influencing them to believe the things we say, influencing them to work with us, influencing them in some cases to love us. We're always trying to get a reaction from other people, and they're trying to get a reaction from us. And again, sometimes it's very straightforward, sometimes not so much so, but it is a constant of life. So if you're unaware that you are being influenced, I suggest you open your eyes and realize you are being influenced, and you're being influenced constantly. So what you need to do is take your critical thinking skills and apply them to all those messages you're receiving, and look at those messages for what they are. Some of them will be helpful to you, some of them are not helpful to you at all. And only critical thinking skills can tell you which is which. You don't have critical thinking skills? Well, I would recommend trying to acquire them. And it takes some practice to learn them, but really every child should learn them, although they are not commonly taught. If you take critical thinking skills and apply them to looking at all the messages you're receiving from everything and everyone around you, you'll be able to interpret them much better. If you don't do that, it's not going to make any difference to whether you're having those messages come at you, because they will regardless. But how you react to them is in your hands. Everything we do in life is about influencing other people to like us, to think well of us, to work with us, to subscribe to the same beliefs we have. We are always trying to influence other people. Sometimes we're trying to influence them to love us. We want our spouses to love us. We want our children to listen to us. We want our employers to keep us employed. We want our employees to work for us well. All of this is about influence. And there are 1,000 different ways to influence people, and people use them all. They use them consciously and they use them unconsciously as well. Magic is one of the tools people use, both consciously and unconsciously. And this is not going to change. It's never been different before, it's not going to be different in the future. People will use every tool they have to influence other people. And if you don't want to be influenced, well, firstly, there's no way you're not going to be influenced. But if you want to have more control over what you choose to allow to influence you, then you must take that control. You must learn those critical thinking skills and apply them to all that you see. And then you'll have much more control over what is or is not actually influencing you. And as for society being benign, the statement that I think today's society is benign makes it sound like some other society might have been. If by benign you mean that it's totally focused on your needs, no society has ever been that way, and none ever will. You must be focused on your needs. Your loved ones might be focused on your needs. And that's about what you're going to get. Now, some societies help their people more than others, but that largely comes from the people themselves and what their values are. So, as for lots of traps to ensnare people, they're always going to be there, and they always have been. And if you want to see this demonstrated, simply read older literature. You'll see that people were behaving in exactly the same way. Read literature from the classical world. you'll see people were behaving exactly the same way. And they were using every tool of influence at their disposal. Now, some people would say that using magic for this purpose is perhaps less honest, but to me I would say it's another tool. The influence is either good or bad depending on what it is, but the tool is just a tool. And we all use magic unconsciously all the time. Some of us are more conscious of it than others. Very few of us are fully conscious of all the things that we do energetically, but we're still doing them. So I would say if you want to discuss it in terms of what are beneficial influences and what are negative influences, it's not the tool, but the purpose that will determine the answer to that. Whether it's the way people speak or glamours that they cast, it comes down to the same thing. It's what are they trying to do? And that is either going to be beneficial or not, but chances are very high that different people will view one thing as beneficial and another thing as detrimental, but it's still the same thing. But different people have different relationships to it. So, in the end, I'd say it's a very complicated subject and one that doesn't lend itself to easy definitions. But again, if you want to have more control over what influences you, dust off those critical thinking skills and use them, because it's really the only tool you have to determine what influences are those that you wish to listen to and what are those that you don't. So, that would be my opinion on the subject. I hope you find it helpful, and until next time, may you blessed be. Reverend Don, super omnibus of incantations and invocations for all occasions. Mary Ann Kay and I created this massive compendium of magic and artwork for you to use in any way that you would like. There are literally hundreds of spells and hundreds of illustrations, which can be mixed and matched and used in many different ways. Check it out now at witchghoulstore.com.
Hello, this is Lady Crystal. I am here with you today to offer today's prayer for peace. I invite you to join me as I do this and to add your energies to this prayer. I pray for peace. I pray for love. I pray for stability. I pray for this nation where I live, and I pray for the world. May peace, true peace, positive peace, reign everywhere